is a collection of transcripts and notes from months of prisoner interrogations. The information is stored on a military-grade laptop, kept in the main holding area downstairs.
What is up, Division 2 agents? Welcome back to the channel. It's D Werewolf Gaming, back with another Division 2 video. Alright agents, today we're going to focus on a gear set that I truly enjoy, and this gear set has been in Division 2 for a while. And you know, a lot of times it's always overshadowed by other gear sets such as Strikers or even the Heartbreaker gear set. This gear set is amazing, guys, because it performs very similar to the Turmoil knee pads. And the gear set we're going to be talking about today, guys, is Negotiator's Dilemma.
Time to put on our negotiation faces.
What really makes this gear set unique is what it can do. Basically, guys, you can mark up to 3 enemies. And if you do have the chest piece on, you can actually mark up to 5 enemies at any given moment, and they will take 60% of your critical hit damage. If you wear the backpack, that 60% increase in damage goes up to 112%. So that's just amazing. With that being said, we decided to pair it with the new exotic mask that just came out, the Tinker exotic mask. This mask is amazing, guys. If you aren't familiar with what it can do, what it does, basically the talent on it is called a bridge, and it allows you to use your talent from your secondary weapon or your primary weapon, as long as the weapons that you are using are non-exotic weapons and non-name weapons as well. So basically, as long as they're not exotic or named weapons, you will be able to use those weapons. One other thing I do need to say is there has to be from the same archetype. For example, if you're using an assault rifle, your secondary weapon has to be an assault rifle as well. One other factor that plays a part is you cannot stack talents, so you will not be able to put 2 talents use the same talent, and you will not be able to use a talent where you get a benefit from when you're weapon swapping. So those are 2 things you have to keep in mind. With that being said, I do want to give a big thank you to everyone that continues to support me on my channel, especially those who always have something positive to say, guys. Really appreciate each and every one of you for your valued time and continued support. And if you're new to the channel, you like the content, please feel free to hit that like, share, and subscribe, and also turn on the notification bell as well, so you can stay informed whenever I do drop videos. All right, agents, as usual, you know, what I like to do is to show you a little bit of gameplay, the build in action, and then we will go over this build breakdown, and then we will finish up the rest of this mission.
The main holding area is downstairs. Get moving.
Range is too short.
Alright agents, I hope that was enough gameplay just to show you how this build works. Alright, so let's get ready to go over this build breakdown. All right, so the assault rifle we decided to use today, guys, is called a Black Market AKM. This is a high-end assault rifle, and as you can see, the core stats are 135.91K with an RPM of 645 in the magazine. Keep in mind, some of my mods are changing some of those stats. For example, the magazine size. Headshot damage is 105%, and that is because of mod, and the optimal range is 27. As you can see, I do have a weapon expertise of 0 on this gun because I wanted to show you how this game performs. If your expertise level, if you have 0 expertise on your weapon. The core attributes on this gun are fully maxed out, and that third attribute, I do have roll to 10% damage to target out of cover. For the weapon handling, we do accuracy is okay, stability is pretty good, the reload time is pretty slow on this gun. Alright, the talent I did choose to put on this gun is called Strain, and basically you gain 10% critical hit damage for every 0.5 seconds you are firing. This stacks up to 5 times. Now, guys, if you don't want to use this mod, there are plenty other talents that you could choose. Strain was working pretty good on this gun because the RPM is pretty slow, and this gun is right there at 600, so Strain seemed to be working pretty good. But some of the other talents that I would recommend are, all right, the killer talent. The issue with the killer talent is basically, in order for this talent to proc, you have to kill an enemy with a critical hit, but you will get 70% increase in critical hit damage, and that will last for 10 seconds. So that is another great option. All right, Optimus would have worked great as well because weapon damage is increased by 3.5% for every 10% of the ammo capacity, that ammo that is missing from the magazine. Another talent that you could have used would have been up close and personal, but you would need to be up pretty close to that enemy to use that talent. All right, guys, and for the secondary weapon, didn't really matter. I did have a FAMAS equipped, but the talent is what we're truly going for in this gun. And the talent that we chose is Streamline. This increases weapon damage by 42% when no skills are on cooldown. So keep in mind your skills, basically you don't want to use your skills in this build. I did make a mistake, where you will see in the second part of the gameplay, where I did accidentally use my drone. All right, the Tinkerer mask is just amazing. It comes, the core attribute in this mask is weapon damage core, and the attributes come on it automatically are critical hit chance and critical hit damage. I do currently have 6% critical hit chance attributes and a 12% critical hit damage attribute. All right, agents, the talent on this mask is called a Bridge. If your primary and secondary weapons are not exotic or named and of the same type, the secondary weapons talent will also be applied to the primary weapon. Some things to keep in mind is this does not apply if the primary or secondary weapon talents includes weapon swapping, and it does not apply if the primary and secondary weapon talents are the same talents. So basically no weapon stacking or no talent in which you get a benefit from when you swapping weapons. All right, so for the chest piece, we did go with the one-piece Fenris, which gives us 10% increase in assault rifle damage. For the core attribute, we did have weapon damage, and the attributes, guys, we did have 6% critical hit chance attributes with a 12% critical hit damage attribute. The talent we decided to put on this build was Focus, and this increases weapon damage by 5% every second you are aiming, while scope with an 8x scope or higher, up to 50%. So basically you get all stacks, you can get up to 50% increase in an additional weapon damage. It does require a scope with an 8x magnification or higher, so keep that in mind. That's why I did have a scope on my gun. Now there are some other talents that you could have used and then did not want to use this, guys. For example, all right, the glass cannon talent would have worked because it increases all the damage you deal. Your damage is amplified by 25%, but keep in mind you would also take amplified damage of 50% as well. Another talent that is very popular, the Obliterate talent. Basically, critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds. This stacks up to 20 times, so you basically get all the stacks, guys. You get up 20% increase in weapon damage. There was 2 other options that I would recommend. All right, so guys, we did go with a 4-piece Negotiator set, and 2 pieces gives us 15% in critical hit chance, and 3 pieces gives us 20% increase in critical hit damage. When you have on all 4 pieces, you get hostile negotiations, and basically critical hits mark enemies for 20 seconds. You can mark up to 3 enemies. When you critically hit a marked enemy, all other marked enemies take 60% of the damage dealt. Whenever a marked enemy dies, you gain 2% critical hit damage, stacking up to 20 times. So that's basically 40% increasing critical hit damage, or will last until combat ends. For the knees, guys, it was the second piece of the Negotiator's Dilemma, and for the core attribute, we did have an armor core with a 12% critical hit damage attribute. For the gloves, it was the third piece, and we did have a weapon damage for the core attribute with a 12% critical hit damage attribute. And for the backpack, the core attribute being an armor core, and the attributes again, critical hit chance and critical hit damage. The talent of what truly stands out on the backpack is called Critical Measures. This increases hostile negotiations damage to an additional marked enemies from 60% to 112. So basically that 60% now it has increased to 112%. So that's just amazing, guys. Really enjoy this backpack. And yes, agents, this build does work in group gameplay as well, because you're able to mark multiple enemies and take those enemies out, so you help your teammate greatly. All right, for the skills, we did go over the Variable Hive just in case we went down. But again, the goal in this build is to not use the skills. And we did have the drone equip as well. And you will see in the gameplay, guys, I did accidentally use my drone, but it didn't, I did lose a little bit of damage shortly, but it wasn't too bad in the gameplay. As you can see, no modifiers was active, just to show you this gameplay without any modifiers being used. All right, total weapon damage was 135,905. As you can see, we did have a critical hit chance of 60% with 137% critical hit damage. Headshot damage was 105%. All right, so let's take a look at the armor on this build. All right, guys, this build's pretty squishy. We only had 1,100,016 armor with 110,002 armor on a kill with 0 armor regen. So keep in mind, agents, you do want to stay in cover because you can go down pretty easily with this build. All right, so as you see in the gameplay, I had 0 expertise on this weapon. So if your watch level is at least 1,000, you will be doing the same amount of damage that you see me doing in this gameplay. All right, so here's a little demonstration of the range at this build, guys. I know generally a lot of times when we make builds, strikers is top build, top gear set for doing damage. But this build right here in this gameplay, you will see this build does work pretty good as far as dishing out damage. And keep in mind, you will be sharing that damage among 3 other enemies that you tag. But if you were a chest piece, you can get a tag up to 5 enemies. But keep in mind, you will be losing a little bit of damage whenever you use the chest piece because it's not giving you a damage talent. All right, one other thing I did want to mention is that if you look at your icons at the bottom of the screen, that little triangle has to be orange to know that the talent is working on the bridge talent. Keep in mind, again, that talent. So if that talent is red, that means you got the wrong weapon equipped. You need to switch back to your primary weapon. All right, agents, so as you can see right there in the gameplay, I did mark those enemies, and then I took out the main target that I was going for. Just like when using the turmoil knee pads, guys, you always want to focus on the enemy with the most health. That way it'll take out the other enemies. That's generally how I do. As you can see, we're hitting over 1 million right there, and we sit right there at 7 million some thousand damage with this build with 0 expertise on the weapon. So as long as your watch level is at least 1,000, you will be doing the same amount of damage that you see me doing in the gameplay. Like I said, a lot of people are familiar with this, guys, but your watch, basically when you get your watch level to 1,000, you will have all the passives unlocked on your SHD watch. All right, and here's a little demonstration of gameplay, guys. What I'm going to do is put the ability talent on instead of using the focus talent, because I know a lot of people really don't care for you. I don't see many videos with people using the focus talent. So here's the ability talent as well. Keep in mind, with the focus talent, you can get up to 50% increase in weapon damage. That's whenever you do get those stacks up. But with the ability talent, you only get up to 20% increase in weapon damage. But you can stack it a lot easier and a lot faster. Of course, you will have to change up some of your mods that you are using on your primary weapon. All right, as you can see, as the Negotiator stacks start occurring, guys, that damage is going up towards over 1 million per headshot crit. So that's amazing on a weapon without any expertise on it. All right, agents, so let's take a look at our class specialization. We did go with the gunner specialization, and there are plenty of reasons, but every third reload is 50% faster. All right, armor kits repair 100% armor and grants 30% bonus armor for 10 seconds. All right, and killing enemy also grants 10% armor back on the kill. So that's one of the primary reasons I did go with the gunner specialization. And you will also have access to the Banshee Pulse. And what it does is it launches a forward arc of pulse energy that disorients enemies caught in a wave and penetrates cover as well. All right, you also generate 10% of your ammo capacity every 60 seconds, and party members recover 5%. And the rate of fire on your weapons are increased by 5% on kills for 5 seconds. One last thing is don't forget to weapon element to get your 15% increase in weapon damage. All right, agents, if you like the build, let's give it a thumbs up. Thank you for your valued time and continued support as always. Stick around, agents. I will finish the rest of this mission just to show you how this build performs. Overall, pretty fun build, and bring a little bit of change in the gameplay, guys, besides using some of the same builds over and over. All right, agents, D-Werewolf out.
Reinforcements en route. holding area is just ahead. Once you find that laptop, grab it and get the hell out of there.
Looks like you got True Sun's reinforcements headed your way.
North or south side?
Trying to break through! Hurry!
We galloping! What the hell is going on here? Put these fuckers down!
Watch that movement!
Watch out! Deploying a...
Vital signs critical.
No more contact. All clear.
Just recovered intel that's going to be a whole lot of help to Odessa in the short term, but to all of us in the long run. You also effectively put this hellhole out of commission.